was like building a podcast that was a narrative storytelling podcast that wasn't in the Tell Me a Story brand. It was like, it's called Rashomon, and it was like my art project that I was trying to make work like revenue stream wise, but I was just basically running two full-time businesses without realizing, and one paid, one unpaid. But then
we
I
call
was
we
like,
call that using your business to build up your side hustle.
right.
Like all of us entrepreneurs are like, oh, but there's something shiny and flashy over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was one of those things like networks were interested. And then there was like VC funding for podcasts. And I was just like getting, drawn away. But because of that, I had separate socials on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter for my podcast for Tell Me a Story. And then I had my personal one that was never like, oh, here's my pictures of my cat. It was like my personal brand, but I was still looking at that as separate as Tell Me a Story, really. But there was a lot of like resharing, cross-posting, all of that. So it was Twitter, Instagram, Facebook times 3. So that's 9 accounts.
Oh my gosh.
And then I had, because those
and
were
the Vimeo channel.
pages.
I would say that there is a certain amount of that you're then repurposing those, but people could find you on Vimeo, but then you were pushing it out through those channels.
And then I had a LinkedIn, but not very active. And I'm trying to think. Yeah, all of that. And it was content. And like in early 2019, I had like done a bit of a rebrand with like a logo refresh and some messaging, and all like in service of moving away from these corporate trainings and bringing people to me. Like here's these retreats, these in-person retreats. And part of that was working with like a brand strategist or like team. And they came up with like an Instagram plan for me because I was like, I hate social media. It's not fun. Like, help me, somebody. But it was like, on Mondays, you post this. On Tuesdays, you post this. On Wednesdays, and here's the hashtags you should use. And here's the type of content you can do and the colors. And if you find images from someone else, here's what kind of images you need to share. And I completely lost my identity, both as like me, Hillary, the founder of my company, but also like Tell Me a Story. What makes Tell Me a Story special and unique and positioned to like be, at the top of what I do, because I was like, I have to follow these rules and I have to come up with content that fits this versus I have something to share and here's a channel in which I can share it. And here's like the rules of that channel, but it doesn't matter because I feel good about what I'm sharing and I can figure that out. Yeah. And that's not my approach. What wasn't my approach? My approach was like, I have to get this done. I need a picture.
Somebody told me that this is the way that this will work.
And it just like, I never felt myself in it or good about it, even if people were responding okay. But also I was like, oh, and then this will lead to sales. Like I was like, I will grow my numbers on these channels and this will lead to sales or lead to people coming to my live show. I would say for the live show, social media did work because it was an event and people were like, oh, that event's happening. Shoot, I got to go to it. Like, yeah. Or their friends would be like, hey, let's go to this thing. But I actually didn't need to do anything there. Like, the place held 50 people. 50 people came every time, like over time, because it had been going on for at the time, like 7 or 8 years. So it was really me just like investing energy and time and anxiety into like crafting an idea of what I thought I needed to present as on these channels.
The way you just said, I spent anxiety on what I thought I needed to do. I think we have all done that so much where it's not just our time. And if we're hiring someone to help us with it, it's not just our money. It is the mental load and the physical toll that takes on our body of this expectation of I am a business owner and this is what business owners are supposed to do. And this is what sells it out, not the word of mouth or the reputation or the fact that I've been doing this, putting on a high quality show for 7 years. It must be my Twitter strategy.
Yeah, I think it was a lack of trust in myself. It was like a fear of being different because my approach to storytelling and like my worldview and my way that I lead and communicate is not like traditional.
It's not corporate, like here is the formula and here's how you hook somebody and here's how you then transition it into selling from the stage. Like it's none of that. And so if you're trying to sell something that's different, you want to find something that feels safe.
Yeah. And it wasn't, and that's not the way to do it. The way to do it is to like,
we can say with like the hindsight of
Yeah, and I feel, like, comfortable now yeah, a lot of this is me looking in hindsight, not knowing what was going on at the time, but, like, yeah, just, like, owning my expertise and, like, trusting that, and then showing up with that and, like, as myself, and not, like, "Be my authentic self." Like, yeah, that word gets used and thrown around a lot, but it's, like, really finding what that means instead of, like, "I just have to, like, wear sweatpants," or whatever people think, like, authenticity is,
Right.
but it's really, like, trust yeah, like, trusting my unique point of view and my expertise.